We appreciate you for being here with us this evening to have a very crucial conversation about what's going on in our community and to discuss some strategies as to how we're going to take back our community. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of our evening, we're going to have Dr. Anderson Henry, Chairwoman of Clayton County, to come up and do our welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, y'all can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. Good. To our Clayton County family, before we lift our voices, I want to say to everyone, as I always say, welcome to Clayton County, where the world lands and opportunities take off. And this is an opportunity tonight for us to take off. I want to first lift up some people who stand with us here in faith and in action tonight. To the principal of Lovejoy High School, Dr. Griffin, and your staff, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for opening up your heart to our community and to our staff and to everyone here today. Thank you all for coming out from Clayton County Public Schools to Clayton County Police Department. We have Young Dro. We have a plethora of community leaders today. Also, I want to thank our mayor, Ms. Marci Fluellen. Please give her a round of applause at this time as well. We also have Robert Flannery, who is our state representative. Thank you for coming out, Mr. Flannery. Let's give him a round of applause. All right. I want to let you all know that your presence here is not political. It is spiritual. It says that you believe, as I do, that God has called us here to protect our scholars and to uplift the fight for our children. Don't you all agree? Family, y'all can clap. Family, and I say this wholeheartedly. Family, we are not here by accident today. We are here because God put a burden on our hearts that cannot be ignored. We are here because the enemy is attacking our young people, and we refuse to stand by and watch this happen. Every time violence steals a child's life, every time a mother cries over her son or daughter, every time a family plans a funeral instead of a graduation, our community bleeds. And as a leader, as a mother, because you all know I am a mother whose child graduated from Clayton County Public Schools, as a former educator and as a woman of faith, I say no more. Not on my watch, not on your watch, and not in this county right here in Clayton County. The Bible tells us that in Psalms 34:14, turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. That is what we are doing today, pursuing peace with power and purpose. Stopping the violence is not just a government duty, it's a spiritual assignment. It takes prayer and action and mothers and fathers and teachers and people in the community working together. We will pour into our youth with every tool that we have, whether it's mental health support, after-school programs, mentorships, jobs, safe spaces, and community partnerships grounded in hope. But we will also speak life over our youth. We will cover them in prayer, and we will remind them that they were created for a purpose, and they are going to serve that purpose and live that purpose out. To our young people here today, standing here or sitting here, hear me with your spirit. You are not the problem. You are God's promise. You are chosen. You are gifted. You are loved beyond measure. Your life has value. Your future has greatness in it. and we will fight for you, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, until you walk safely in the fullness of what you are destined to be in life. To our parents and families, I know the fear, I know the worry, the sleepless nights, but you are not alone. We stand with you, everyone stands with you, and together we will reclaim our streets here in Clayton County. We will reclaim our schools here in Clayton County, and we will reclaim our children right here in Clayton County. And to everyone here today, let this be the moment we draw a line in the sand and declare, Clayton County will not bow to violence. We will not surrender our children. We will not accept fear as a norm. With God's grace, with unity, with courage, and with unwavering faith, we will rise. We will rebuild, we will protect, and we will prevail. I believe in this county. I believe in you. I believe in our youth. And I believe that when God's people come together, hand in hand, heart to heart, victory is inevitable. So I'm going to leave you with this closing prayer. Will you please bow your heads? Heavenly Father, we come before you today standing on your word, trusting in your protection, and believing in your power. Lord, cover our children. Surround them with your angels. Strengthen them, strengthen their minds. Guard their hearts and guide their steps. We rebuke every spirit of violence, fear, and destruction attempting to invade our communities. Replace it with peace, God, purpose, and prosperity. Pour your wisdom into our leaders, your comfort into our families, and your courage into every soul sitting and standing here today. Lord, heal Clayton County. Restore hope, restore unity, restore safety. Let this be the beginning of transformation, not just in our streets, but in our hearts. We declare right now that no weapon formed against our children, our families, our future will prosper. And we stand firm believing that with you, God, victory is inevitable. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray, and I thank you, Lord, right here today. And with all voices say, amen. 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 Thank you all. Thank you.
Let's give Dr. Anderson Harry another big round of applause. And more importantly, ma'am, thank you for that prayer. We appreciate that prayer. The Bible says men ought to always pray. And as a district, we do partner with faith-based leaders because we do believe in the power of prayer. So I'm just going to set the foundation for tonight and just talk about how we're going to move forward. One of my favorite axioms says that proactive people prepare, reactive people repair. With this particular axiom in mind, what we've done today is brought the collaborative spirit and the tabletop discussion to the community. So we're giving you front row seats in a major discussion that we gotta have with our community. So you're gonna hear from some high-powered individuals, some game changers tonight, individuals that's going to be movers and shakers. Dr. Harris and myself were determined not to bring people to our tabletop discussion tonight that was just going to just move words around and give us, absolutely, go ahead, you can. We wanted people that were going to actually put some things in action. And that's surely what you're going to hear tonight. And in the spirit of transparency, when we talk about being proactive, I just wanted to share some things that you can see that are very synonymous into the school here at Eddie White and then our school at Lovejoy. For an example, our safety and security arrival protocols, you'll see some strong similarities. because Dr. Harris and myself, we do a lot of collaboration. And as a team, as colleagues, we do what we feel is effective and what works. So a few of the statements that our students at Lovejoy made were things like, we feel like we're in a prison. Well, that's not the intention, young man and young woman. The intention is to make sure that our schools are safe, and that to the best of our ability, we can rid our school of guns and knives and weapons that could potentially bring harm to our students. So when we do our comprehensive arrival protocols, we make sure that our students are not bringing weapons into the school, because you're going to hear some very concerning things from some of our leaders tonight, because gun violence is real. And yes, our students are being murdered in our community. So we do what we can in the schoolhouse to make sure that we curtail or mitigate to the best of our ability things that are happening in the community. One of the things you'll see here, as well as Lovejoy, is that our administrators are within cohort communities. By design, middle schools are set up in cohorts 6, 7, and 8. Typically, when you get to high school, you kind of lose that level of security and strategy. But at Lovejoy, our classifications are in cohorts, primarily the 9th and the 10th grade. So you still kind of get, for our 9th graders, you still kind of get that middle school feel. We don't just dump them into a comprehensive environment and they kind of lose themselves and lose that level of security or feeling of security. So we do what we call a 9th grade academy. And as a matter of fact, my 9th grade academy leader is here tonight, Mr. Bodie. Mr. Bodie, if you would just raise your hand there. And he's doing a phenomenal job with our 9th grade academy. And when you step into the building of Lovejoy, you see that our administrators are not housed in offices. They're actually in zones. That happens on the middle school level as well. You'll see that here at Eddie White, and Dr. Harris here kind of emphasized on that. But our 9th grade academy leader is where the 9th graders are, 10th grade is where the 10th graders are, and 11th and 12th grade, and so on and so forth. So those are just some of the things that we do to make sure that we keep safety and security at the highest level. Another big thing that we do at Lovejoy, you see that here, there's some similarities, some very strong similarities, is that everyone at Lovejoy High School is on duty. Safety and security is everybody's responsibility. You don't just see the coaches and the administrators and just the teachers, but you also see the custodians, front office staff. Anybody that touches those children in our building is a part of safety and security. For an example, what you'll witness if you come to Lovejoy and you see a transition, you see the secretaries standing at the door. You see the attendance clerk checking for those students who have work-based learning or dual enrollment as they leave the building. We're making sure that as students leave the building, that they legitimately are leaving the building and that no one's coming in who desires to do harm to our students. But one of the most successful things that we do at Lovejoy is our advisement program. And we're particularly excited about that program because it allows us to address some of the ills and the norms and the nuances that our students are experiencing in the community. But we can only do so much in the school. When they leave us and they go back to you or they go back into the community, we wanted to bring people together that's going to talk about what they are going to do, because it truly takes a village. The school can't do it alone. Myself and Dr. Harris in this community, along with the other principals, Dr. Harris and also Principal Payton, we can't do it alone. it truly takes a village, and the individuals that you are going to hear from today is going to talk about those things that they're doing in the community to help us rid and eradicate the violence that we see in our community. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my partner in crime, and she's going to bring you greetings and some additional information before we allow our panel members to go ahead and get started. And that's none other than Dr. Micki Harris. Give her a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. I first want to thank you all for coming out. If you are a parent or a guardian of Eddie White, I know you got a lot of spam from me. You got a lot of voice calls from me, and it was very intentional because this is a very serious matter. It's a call to action. Before we go any further, I want some of our stakeholders here to know who's in the room, who's on the panel, who decided to say, hey, Dr. Griffin, Dr. Harris, I'm with you. What do you need? We're here for you. And I first want to acknowledge the Clayton County Public Schools staff. And the one thing that I love about Clayton County Public Schools, and I've worked for 2 other districts, this is the most personal district I've ever worked for. And when we want to talk, when we want to share things, when we want to kind of talk about things we want to do, they give us our undying support. I first want to introduce the Senior Chief of Schools, Leadership and Improvement, Dr. Keith Colbert is here. I want to introduce the Assistant Superintendent of High School, Dr. Eldred Horton is here. Assistant Superintendent for Middle Schools, Mr. Lonnie Farmer is here. Executive Director, Department of Student Discipline, Dr. Melvin Blocker is here. And I apologize if I'm missing any other Clayton County Public Schools officials. I want to also introduce one of our board members, Miss Mary Baker is here. And I want you all to know who agreed to be here with us and support and be a panelist and present. And I may miss some because I didn't know you were coming, but I'm glad you are here. I want to begin with behind me, the mayor of Lovejoy, Marci Fluellen is here. To her left is Chief Steve Wright. He is the Chief of Police for the city of Lovejoy. Sergeant Morgan is here from Clayton County Public Schools Police. Pastor Philip Spann, Pastor Shallow Missionary Baptist Church, Atlanta. Dwayne Sharp, and forgive me for missing your rank. Sergeant Sharp is here from the Clayton County Gang Task Force. Dr. Sierra L. of It Still Takes a Village is here. Young Dro artist and co-founder of It Still Takes a Village is here. Pastor Terrence Curtis of Calvary Baptist Church, Jonesboro is here. Tremaine, AKA Steady of Steady Hands is here, along with his wife. She also partners with us. Rain is here. And also, I see Pastor Eva Hill has made it in the building. We want to say welcome and thank you for coming. And Captain Cofield of the Clayton County Police is here. And then Captain Davis is here. Major Davis, that's right, you got promoted, I was there. And please charge it to my head and not my heart if I've missed you, but I want to say thank you to all, and I want those that are here to know that we didn't hound anyone for these individuals to come. We want to talk about just the purpose. The purpose of being here is not to get in here, talk, get some pictures, and post them, and say what you did, and you did a good thing, give us a clap, a nice tag, and go home. Matter of fact, I don't want any of that. I want your engagement. I want you to be consistent here with our scholars, because so many conversations that Dr. Griffin and I have each and every day are around topics and things that are beyond the scope of what we can do. So I'm not going to give a whole lot of gibberish here, because we have some great professionals here, and we have our council leaders here, and we have city and government officials here. So I want you to tune in, but I want you to also have conversations with your children. I also want you to go let your neighbor know that he or she missed it today, and this is not the end. And Dr. Griffin's going to talk more about phase 1. This is something that has kept us up all night. And I also want to say thank you to both of our spouses. That's Ms. Labrita Griffin and my husband, Sergeant Major James Harris, because we have worn them out. We've missed a lot of family time. And we want to say thank you to them. But what I want to do is I'm going to give you the segments that we're going to have. And for those of you who do not get one, there are some of our administrators, and I want to be sure that you all know that we have assistant principals that are here. Mr. Keith Evans is here, Eddie White, assistant principal. Mr. Dwayne Bodie, Lovejoy High School assistant principal. Ms. Devlin White, assistant principal. Mr. Juan Moore, assistant principal, and Ms. Micki Young is here. We're going to have 4 segments that we feel like will cover the hot spots and the hot targets of things that we need to discuss. I did not see Mr. Mobley over there. Hello. Mr. Mobley and Ms. Terry Culver, assistant principals at Lovejoy High School. And Ms. Wilson Hunt, assistant principal, Lovejoy High School. We want to ensure that we cover the topics that are important. They're not going to be long-winded, because if you're like me, I have a short attention span. But you keep my attention if you're giving me some good information that's pertinent. And I guarantee you the information that you will hear today is pertinent to you, whether you have a child in the community or not, if you're worried about your property taxes, if you're worried about gang tags being on the stop sign when you drive out your subdivision, if you're worried about what's going on at the bus stop outside your house and you wish you could talk to the HOA president and get the bus stop moved, if you feel unsafe when you get out of your car from your driveway to your home and you're looking all around because you're afraid, if your child says, I want to go outside, you say, no, not today, it doesn't look good, I don't know what they're doing out there, we have a problem. So I'm not going to say Houston, we have a problem, I'm going to say Lovejoy, we have a problem. But it can be fixed. And what we're going to begin to do is begin a conversation and inform you of where things are today. And then we're going to begin to have some action items and some deliverables about where we will be moving. And I can guarantee you, if Dr. Kelvin Griffin and Micki Harris don't make good on it, and this is a one and done, you can get on us about it. But I can promise you, it's not a one and done. It's real. So we're going to begin our segment. Our first segment is community safety and prevention. Community safety and prevention, we're going to talk about some local data. What does the data say? What are the hot spots in our community, whether incorporated Lovejoy or unincorporated? What can we do? What are the things that the city has in place? What are the things that the city is looking to do? What are the things that you can do to help move it forward? Because what I can tell you is Mayor Fluellen and Chief Wright and the city council women are only a few people. But the city of Lovejoy is made of thousands, and together we can begin to make that change. So I'm going to begin with Mayor Fluellen giving us an introduction, and then after Mayor Fluellen gives an introduction that may include some data and some other things, we'll hear from Chief Wright, who is the Chief of Police for the city of Lovejoy, as well as we'll also hear from Officer Morgan, Sergeant Morgan from Clayton County Public Schools Police.
Good evening, everyone. It is so encouraging to see so many parents here with us this evening for this important conversation. Our village is Clayton County, It is time for our village to stand and not only say, as our chairwoman said, enough, but to put actions behind the words, enough. Within that village, we have the city of Lovejoy, and we are standing firm behind the word, enough. So what I want to share with you tonight is 8 points of action that the city of Lovejoy is standing firm and moving forward with. Starting with our last council meeting that was held on this past Monday, we reintroduced and reenact a curfew in the city of Lovejoy. That curfew starts immediately. The social media post went out the following day. And for that curfew, Thursday through Sunday, Sunday through Thursday, it starts at 11 p.m. and it goes until 6 a.m. On Friday and Saturday, because that's when a lot of games and community activities are taking place, the curfew is from midnight to 6 a.m. the following morning. What does that mean? That means if you are the age of 17 and under, you do not need to be loitering on the streets of Lovejoy. You need to be at home. Some would say that the time needs to start earlier. Some would say this is too much. But I'm here to tell you we need to do something. And so this is where we're starting, with something. The second point is we are engaging our Eyes Across Lovejoy Neighborhood Watch program that has been ongoing for years with little to no participation. I'll say that again, with little to no participation. We have those meetings at the council, at the city hall, and there may be a few people in attendance. But when a crime happens, there's an outcry that says, Lovejoy, what are you doing? We're asking you to engage. That's what we're doing. Because it takes all of us working together. And so we would ask for you to be a part of Eyes Across Lovejoy so that we can address those areas that seem to be high activity zones for crime. One set of eyes cannot see everything that happens in the community, but if the community stands and makes a call about what they see, then we can start addressing it together. The third point of action is to increase our Lovejoy Police Department presence in neighborhoods that are considered high activity zones. We have been doing so, but we're stepping up the activity on this and increasing the presence. So as you see more officers patrolling your neighborhoods, patrolling the community, understand that is why. We are here to make a presence to say, if you're here to do crime, you need to go somewhere else. Because here in the city of Lovejoy, if you are caught doing crime, you will do some time. The fourth point of action, we will work with our Clayton County Police Department partners and our Clayton County School partners in increasing police presence after school games. There seems to be an increase of activity of violence that happens after these games. We are here to partner and be a part of the solution and to encourage all those that are attending those games to safely and swiftly return home after they've ended. Fifth point, eyes on our youth during the day when there should be in school. We have witnessed too many of our youth walking the streets of Lovejoy and perusing through Walmart and the general stores during school hours. And if they are homeschooled, please tell me what part of the curriculum is Walmart and the Dollar General store. So we will be stepping up on that activity and asking those children why they're not at home and contacting the parents and asking the same question. The sixth point of action. We are inactivating our Lovejoy Special Gang Prevention Team. Our chief is taking a very strong action against gangs in the city of Lovejoy. If you are about that life, we suggest you take that life somewhere else. I'll say that again. If you are about that life, we suggest you take that life somewhere else. Gang violence is over in the city of Lovejoy. The seventh point of action. Mentoring programs for boys and girls on conflict resolution, dealing with big life changes such as breakups, parents divorcing, death in the family, or stress in the home, addressing trauma, mental health, free life counseling from certified services, self-awareness, saying no to gangs, saying no to guns, anti-bullying, mindset reconditioning, adult preparedness, and etc. We are looking for community partners because, as I mentioned before, this is a village, and we are ready to work with that village. Because these initiatives usually attract predators, please know that if you are going to work with us, there will be requirements for a free background check and a completion of an awareness program. We want to make sure anyone participating in our programs that mentor our youth are safe for our youth and not preying upon our youth. The eighth and final point of action. We have a Lovejoy grant team, and we're working with them to find funds for year-round programs to assist our parents who may have to work late hours or multiple jobs to keep up with this economy, or even single-parent homes that would like for their children to be enrolled in a program that keeps them off the street and or simply not at home alone with idle hands and idle minds, which any of us who are old enough to know the statement, idle hands and idle minds lead to what? Lead to destruction. And so if we give our children something to do, we give them supervision, we give them instruction and guidance, then we can keep them moving forward to the success that they deserve to accomplish. And especially any programs that teach trade skills, preparing our youth for their adulthood. So these are the things that we are stepping forward from the city of Lovejoy into our village to be a part of the solutions. And that's just the opener. We are still thinking of more things that we can do to address the issues in our community. I have a sign-up sheet that will be laid out if you want to be a partner with us and sign up for the Lovejoy Village. Please do so, because we are ready to take action, and we are hoping that you are too.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start out by saying the mayor, Major Davis, and myself has visited school several times this year on occasions where students have passed away in gun violence or mental health issues and stuff like that. And if we only visited one time, it's one time too many. So I want to start out and just talk a little about gang violence and what the city of Lovejoy just talk a little about gang violence among our youth is one of the most urgent challenges facing our communities today. The good news is it can change. We just all have to work together. That's counting school resource officers, Chief Roberts and myself. I know Chief Roberts well, so we're going to be talking a lot about the gang the gang task force we about to put together. I do want to call up Lieutenant Webster. Lieutenant Webster, will you come on up? I want him to talk a little bit about what his vision is for the gang task force that's going to be put together. Yeah, you do it right there.
All right, so here in the city of Lovejoy, we just started our gang unit. It's brand new, fresh out of the box. So once we start that, it's gonna be a lot of intel gathering on what's going on in the city, schools. We're gonna work with the Clayton County Police Department, and we're gonna have a lot of work working with the schools. So once we start gathering all that intel, figuring out what group is doing what, I can promise you, we're gonna target it, each focus group. It's gonna be targeted. And parents, from that, you know, get your kids in check. If you know your kids are out here doing this stuff and you're still allowing them to do that stuff, y'all gonna have to answer for that too. Because we're not stopping. And also for the community, I've been called out last week about 5 different times on different shootings. Went door to door. We have people, witness people get shot. We're talking about 17, 18-year-old kids, y'all. We have no help from the community, none. So if you see a problem, fix the problem. If you think you don't have a problem, we can't fix the problem. We need y'all's help as well. But our gang unit, trust me, we're gonna get on top of it.
Thank you. What I want to start also is what we can do and what must be done. First, we need to support the families and give parents the tools to guide their children. So if any parent needs help, all you have to do is reach out. Because I promise you, I will come to your house and visit. I done been on, just the last 3 weeks alone, 3 death notifications that I had to do to parents. 3. So, I mean, and that's something that I get emotional about, because I got a 19-year-old. I got a 14-year-old. You know, so like, just seeing these parents break down is emotional to me. So, second, we can provide safe spaces and positive activities, like the mayor said, sports, arts, tutoring, mentorship that give young people hope and direction. Third, we need trust between youth and law enforcement. There's a lot of youth right now that don't trust law enforcement. So I want to start a program. I'm starting a program during the summer that we're going to be doing like a police academy, where the police officers speak on what we do every day, how we do things, and why we do things. Gang violence is not inevitable. It grows where communities are divided, but it fades where communities stand together. Let's work to uplift our youth, listen to them, and show them that they matter. I also want to speak about suicides, because we're getting, I read a stat today where 1 out of every 10 kids walking in the hallway has thought about suicide. 1 to 10, that's 10%. How many students we got at Lovejoy High now? 1,900. 1,900. So out of every 10 kid, you get 1 that has thought about suicide. Youth suicide is one of the most heartbreaking issues facing our community. Behind every statistic is a young person who felt alone, overwhelmed, or unheard. And while the topic is difficult, talking about it openly is one of the most powerful ways we save lives. To prevent youth suicide, we must first listen. Listen to our young people. Need to know their feelings are real, valid, and deserving of support. A simple conversation, how are you and how are you really, can make a life-changing difference. Second, we must create a safe, supportive environment in our homes, schools, and communities. Again, parents, if you see it, all you got to do is reach out for help. Because there's a lot of parents, it might happen to over here, and it don't involve them, so they're not going to say anything. So if you see it, even if it's a friend that comes over of your kid, and you see something wrong, reach out. Third, we must normalize mental health care. Just like physical care, counseling, peer support, and programs that teach teach the coping skills, give young people tools to handle stress, pressure, and emotional pain. And finally, we must remind every young person that they are valued, and their story matters, and that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weaknesses. Youth suicide is preventable when we choose compassion, connection, and understanding. Together we can build a world where no young person feels they have to suffer in silence. Thank you.
As we close this segment, the one thing I want to emphasize why it's so important is the scope of what we can do is limited. So often on Monday mornings, Dr. Griffin and I, the assistant principals, are greeted with parents that have so many issues that have happened over the weekend. But they did not dial 911. They did not contact their local precinct, but they want to give it to us. And I understand that we are tangible. We have a relationship with our parents. However, we can't govern what happens in your home. So the purpose of starting with this is letting you know the city of Lovejoy is here. The people that you voted and elected are here. We got to use them. We got to call them and allow them to do what they do best. And so as much as we would love to help and jump in and do certain things, we're limited. But we want you to know that your officials are here and ready and willing to work for you. Before I go further, and this is not on the script, but this group in yellow, can someone tell me the name of this organization?
That's my church.
Oh my God, praise God. Come on. Yes. I could not sit here, my eyes were drawn right there. Thank you all so much. Thank you for keeping us covered. And actually, Pastor Curtis emailed me this week and told me that you all were keeping us in prayer. We so appreciate it. As we move into the second segment that is going to involve Pastor Curtis and
I forgot to mention something that the mayor said about the curfew. So the kid can be charged, but do know if when we get to your home and bring the kid home, if your response is, I knew he was out or I knew she was out, you will be charged also. The parent will be charged.
that was a real important interruption. Yeah, amen to that, Mount Calvary. As we go into parent engagement, I want you all to think about engagement. And I know many of y'all hear from your parent liaisons and Title I meetings and curriculum night, but we want you to know that there are other ways to keep your kids engaged. And so for this segment, we're going to include Pastor Spann from Shiloh Baptist, Pastor Curtis from Mount Calvary, as well as Dr. Sierra and Young Dro from It Still Takes a Village, to talk about parental engagement. What are the bigger barriers? How can schools communicate and churches communicate more effectively with you all? And also, we know that these are some of the things that Dr. Griffin and I can and will respond to as well. And what does meaningful parent involvement look like in 2025? It looks different than it looked when I was in middle school at Ralph Bunch in 1989 and 1990. It's different. And how can you become more involved? So we'll begin opening up this segment with Pastor Spann, then Pastor Curtis, and then Sierra. It Still Takes a Village.
Thank you, Dr. Harris, and thank you to everyone here this evening. It's a pleasure and an honor to be around individuals in the same space and same setting, in the same circle, who are seeing, seeking, and serving the same vision. And we know the vision that we are seeking and serving is the vision of the redemption and restoration of our youth. I certainly agree with all of the points of action that were mentioned here today, but just to add to what was already shared here today, I believe we all realize that there are problems that are being presented in our midst. But what I do believe is that we fail to recognize that the prescription has already been provided. there are presenting problems. Everything that we see in our community, from gun violence, gang violence, teenage pregnancy. We see these things pervasive and rampant in our community. They are what you call presenting problems. But to every presenting problem, there is also a root problem. I'm a pastor, and so obviously I believe in God's word. I believe God's word is true. I believe God's word speaks to every situation that we face in our lives, including our current plight that we are dealing with our children. The scriptures tell us to train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will never depart from it. Parents have been trusted with the responsibility to train up a child, not in the way that the world is taking them, not in the way that gangs are taking them, but in the way that God has ordained for them to go, following his principles, his precepts, his virtues, and his values. God gave Adam in the garden a charge, and he told him to guard it and to take care of it. We cannot let our children down. Now, do all of us grow up in two-parent households? No, we don't. There are some homes that are very successful, and children become productive citizens in society with single parents. But it's during those times that men, I said men, is this mic on? I said men, must fill in the gaps. We must make it a priority to be intentional about being in the lives of our children. Rules without relationship reproduce rebellion. There is no impact without contact. We can't tell our kids to do anything if we're not spending time with them, if we're not listening to them. And here it is, we've been charged to manage the household, but we can't manage what we don't model. And so if we want our kids to be all that they can be, we have to model. They will never be what they can't see. So we have to model this in front of our kids, and when we do that, I believe that we can move forward and see the change that we know that our children need to be a part of.
I want to say that I concur with all that Dr. Spain just shared. And also I want to encourage all the parents who are here tonight. I know how difficult of an assignment and job it is, parenting, whether you're there with a spouse or you're alone. The age in which we live is very frightening, it's scary, as we see what's happening in the lives of children and communities. But I just want to encourage the parents by reminding them that it is not hopeless. It is not hopeless. And the evidence is clear tonight. You're not alone. God has given to parents, I believe, the greatest responsibility in all the world. I believe the most difficult job in all the world is not that of the President of the United States. It is not even that of a high school principal. I believe the hardest job in all the world is that of a parent. I mean, it is so difficult, it is so hard, but it is not hopeless. And you're not alone. And we're here tonight to let you know that you're not alone. I'm sharing a series of sermons at our church that I began on this past Sunday entitled Home for the Holidays. And I came from Deuteronomy 6. And in the passage, Moses has the children of Israel set before him as he's giving his farewell address. And as he talks with them, he's not talking to the generals of the military. He's not talking to the CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies, but he's talking to parents. He's speaking to families, because Moses understood that as goes the family, so goes society. Whatever condition the family is in, the school will be in like condition, society will be in like condition, and even the church will be in like condition. And so the key to everything that you've heard tonight and that you're going to hear tonight, the key is the family. You, parents, you hold the power. You hold the necessary component to turning not only our schools around, but the entire community around. If you will get involved in the lives of your children, know where they are, know what they're doing to the best of your ability, because you know, our children can be very sneaky, and they can do some things to kind of hide from us, no matter how well we're trying to supervise them. But parents, you hold the key to it all. And I want to say again, it is not a hopeless task that you've been given. God never asked us to do anything that's impossible for us to do. And he has granted you the grace of having those children. And with that, he has given you what you need to lead them into being responsible young adults in society so that they are contributing productively. If there are some questions that you don't know the answer to, I just believe in the old model of maybe if you can get with an older mother or an older father and just allow them to mentor you. I think we would be amazed at what a difference that would make. Sometimes I think we have gotten so deep and, you know, we've gotten so highfalutin that we've kind of dismissed some of the old ways. But man, it still makes a difference. It still makes a difference just seeing somebody else model what it is that you're wanting to do and trying to do. And if you don't have anyone, we've got plenty of older ladies in our church. We would love to model and mentor a young mother. We've got brothers at our church. We would love to mentor a young father. But that's what it's going to take. You got to recognize where, you know, there may be some assistance that you need, and not too proud to seek out that assistance and to seek out that help. And there are people in this room, I believe, and their presence, I believe, communicates the fact that they want to help you, because in helping you, we're going to help our community to be a better community. But you're not alone, and it is not hopeless.
Dro, I'm so AT. I was just kidding. I thought I was rapping. Nah, I'm young Dro, man. From a Still Takes a Village. I'm a rapper, but I'm a father first. My daughter actually walked Clayton County streets on drugs, and I'm in the school weekly, you know, and I hear a lot of things from the kids that, you know, come out of their mouth like they have issues at home. Some kids say they smoke weed with their parents. Some kids say that their parents don't listen. You know what I mean? But most of all, they're there and they just get sucked into society that way. You know what I mean? By me being a rapper, whether you know it or not, they kind of listen to the rapper before they listen to the parents sometimes. You feel what I'm saying? So I have the lingo that I speak, or I understand the language. So I'm able to gauge my son or my daughter or the kids that I'm mentoring while I'm in the school, because I have an ear for what the language that they speak. And I can almost meet them and put an end to a lot of things that before they start, you know what I mean? Or I can tap into where what I can get out of them in a day might take you a year. just because I speak the language. You feel me? I walk up, what's up, twin? You feel what I'm saying? You might be like, what are you talking about? But this is how they communicate. Without you communicating in this way, you will be blocked out. Like, you don't know the lingo. You don't speak this language. It's almost like listening to a foreigner talk, you know what I mean? If you don't know the language, then you won't understand what they're talking about. So, I think that families and parents should just dig in a little bit more. Don't be so stiff. You feel what I'm saying? Like, when I come to mentor, I come dressed like this. I meet them halfway, you know what I mean? Like, I'm approachable, you feel me? Even though I'm a celebrity, I speak the language, I meet them halfway, and I'm a parent also. So I have to do this with my children in my home, you feel what I'm saying? I don't want to be left out of the loop when, something is occurring with my child that I can tap into as far as language goes. So make sure that if you gotta, get hip, you gotta speak a little bit of it, you know what I'm saying? Tap in, twin, you feel me?
I'm gonna stand up. I heard everybody who spoke had touched on some stuff I had took notes in. But what I wanted to piggyback on was two things. Listening. Y'all don't listen. I'm not talking about the parents, I'm talking about the adults. If you're an adult, whether you're in a uniform or you're some type of official, professional, or whatever you are in here, you are an adult and you have to listen. That's the biggest problem that I see, because we already know it all, so they say, but we really don't know it all. That's the biggest problem. We have to listen to the kids. I don't care how much experience you have. I don't care how young you feel like they are. If you do not listen to what they are saying, we're gonna miss the bus. The reason a lot of kids get out here for real and they smoking, they doing hookah, or they got, what's the little stick things they be? They vaping. They get caught up into these groups, gangs. They get caught up into relationships because we're not listening. They want to be heard. Let me say it again. We do not listen. And as much education as I have, and as much parenting that you all may have, or respectfully, as much as you may have been in the church, we don't have all the answers. That's the bottom line. We don't know everything. That's the bottom line. Have we been 12, 13, 14, 15 years old before? Yeah, we have. We haven't been there 12, 13, 14, and 15-year-old before. We haven't done that. I'm kind of young, a little bit, but I see stuff that I've never seen before. I hear stuff that I've never heard before. I'm from Chicago, and I didn't see a lot, and I didn't heard a lot. But if you sit down and you talk to children and you listen, I swear to you, we can get so much further. I walk your hallways, don't I? If there's a kid, and if there's a kid in need, I'm gonna walk her hallway. I was just walking Dr. Griffin hallway earlier today because I need to hear what's happening. And once I start listening, I might just stop the suicide thought. I may have just stopped you from rolling another blunt. I may have just stopped you from engaging in bullying activity. Do y'all hear me? It's important. It's important that we listen. It's important, regardless of how much experience you have, regardless of what your role is, it's important for us to listen. That's my biggest takeaway.
Hey, hello, check. Hey, how everybody doing? All right. I'm Tremaine. Everybody call me Steady. Everybody call me Steady. All right. I really don't need it, but I'm Tremaine Steady, and I'm a big part of the community by everybody sitting in my chair, and they're talking to me. Just like she said, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to what adults gotta say. I'm gonna listen to what the kids gotta say. A lot of these things these kids be saying, it just be off of the lingo, it be off of what they're going through, and I'm gonna listen. Just from me talking, I have talked to someone out of killing themselves, out of from just bullying someone from relationships, because I'm all of it. I'm gonna be a therapist, I'm gonna be a relationship counselor, I'm gonna be every single thing when y'all sit in my chair. You know what I mean? And I'm here for it. I want to be the glue to everything that everybody's saying, and I want to be the glue to it. And everybody coming in my chair, they may think they may come in here and this is a safe spot for the kids, maybe then they can come to. But guess what? I'm going to repeat just what everybody's saying. They're going to hear it from me just because I'm the younger version of it. I want y'all to hear it from the older version. Like, we all do need grandmas. We all do old school grandmas, old school grandpas, but we had that. We don't got that no more, like you said. But we got to come together as we doing and just do better as a community. Because it takes a village, real talk, it takes a village for everybody. And it's gonna have to come from someone from old, someone from young. And I'm just here, I wanna be used in the most right way and to help the community. And that's what I got for you guys, all right?
We have one last segment that we want to present to you tonight. And with this particular segment, we want you to hold on to your seats, because this particular segment is going to talk about gang violence and anything as it relates to gangs. Now, Chief Wright hinted on what Lovejoy is going to do. We're going to bring a few individuals that's going to talk about how Clayton County is handling the gang issue. But I will say one of the issues that myself and Dr. Harris have to deal with on a very consistent basis are Nike ski masks and hoods. I feel like most days a broken tape recorder when I have to say to our children on a very consistent basis, remove your hood, remove your hat, remove your ski mask. As a matter of fact, ski masks are against the law. We have sent that information out on a very, very consistent basis. But I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had with parents when it gets to a point where we have to hold our students accountable for being insubordinate. Parents would say, you're suspending my child for wearing a hood or a ski mask? No ma'am, no sir, I'm suspending your child for being insubordinate and disrespectful. So we want you to hear from this gang task force tonight, because when these fights in the restrooms are being posted on Clayton mom and dads, that's a subliminal message. There's a whole lot more to what you're seeing on TikTok and Clayton moms and dads, the colors they wear, the type of hoods, the messages on the hoods. This is why when we send out those messages and we say that certain hoods and messages cannot be worn on their sweatshirts and hoods, it's a reason, because there are messages being messaged through their clothing. So without further ado, we're going to bring up a few individuals. We have Dr. Blocker, who is here with us tonight. We have Sergeant Morgan, who is here with us tonight. And the last sergeant?
Sharp.
Sergeant Sharp. My apologies, Sergeant Sharp, for forgetting your name, who is here with us tonight. And they're going to talk some very real and raw conversations about gang task force and Captain Cofield. My apologies, Captain Cofield. It's been a long day, sir. But they're going to talk about the real and rawness of gang violence and what we need to keep our eyes and ears open for, and quite frankly, have a third ear and a third eye for in our homes, because it's happening right under our noses. Sir, go ahead.
Good evening, Captain Cofield again. I'm the Sector 3 Commander. Sector 3 covers essentially the whole southwest side of Clayton County. There is an issue going on with violence, and in particular gang violence in Clayton County and in this area. I'm going to give you a few cases, and I'm going to give you the ages involved in these homicides that we have. All of these have occurred in Sector 3. The first 3 from June until 2 weeks ago. Happened at 1035 Terra Boulevard, the Kroger store. 17-year-old male shot in the head. Broad daylight in front of the store. 790 Villa Way, 17-year-old shot, dead. 1721 McDonough Road, right down here, November the 1st. Right in front of the library, not too far from Lovejoy High School. In fact, I believe he was leaving a football game, and not 1,000 feet from my Sector 3. So it really hit home. There's no respect. There's no nothing. You walk up to somebody and kill them, shoot them down, and take off and leave. One of the things that was identified and shown to be possible gang activity, the victim is wearing a necklace. On that necklace, the letters YNH, and the YNH is associated with a subset of a gang that's supposed to be loosely affiliated with, I believe, the Crips or the Bloods, loosely affiliated again. But these things are happening, and they're happening way too often. Way too often. We get there, and if we can identify something like that, we get to the parents, explain to the parents that, hey, look, we need to know, it's not going to make us look badly, or we're not going to look as hard for the persons who did this if the child was in the gang, but do you know if your child was in the gang? And then 9 times out of 10, what we get is, no. And then you ask, does he have social media? And again, you may get yes, you may get no, and then you take the name and you enter it into some social media site, and there's the kid. Gang signs, guns, open, not trying to hide anything. If you're putting it on social media, everybody can see it. So you're not trying to hide anything. I'll give you some numbers. A number from 2024. Now this person was a little older, but he died as a result of gangs shooting at each other. He was a 50-year-old male. That happened on Cozy Lane. Again, in 2023 on McDonough Road, 16-year-old. As we come down in 2022, 103 Sterling Ridge Lane, 16-year-old. 681 Flint River Road was a little farther up the road, but 16-year-old. Again, 681 Flint River Road, 19-year-old. 8334 Magnolia Drive, 15-year-old. 11206 McDonough Court, 17-year-old. Unfortunately, we react when these things happen. We like to be proactive. Proactivity also involves the community. I've heard other of these speakers say that we if you see something that doesn't look right, don't hesitate to call. Okay? The worst thing that can happen, we come out there and we find that, there's nothing. Best case scenario, we come out and we prevent something from happening. 911. Call 911. You can stay anonymous. It doesn't matter. Now we approach these things when they happen, and hopefully in an effort to prevent the next thing from happening by getting out and attacking these things aggressively. You may see the police come out and they're heavy in your community. If they're heavy in your community, doesn't mean you did anything bad, but they're possibly, more than likely, there's something bad going on in the neighborhood. After we had the 16-year-old shot down here, right off of Panhandle Road, we were in that neighborhood aggressively for 2 weeks. And you find out that it is some type of gang, social group, whatever you want to call it. Started out as one group turned into two groups. The two groups began to war back and forth with each other. The victim gets attacked on a Friday, and by Sunday, he's shot dead while trying to take revenge on the ones that beat him up. These things don't happen in a vacuum. Parents, please, parents, please, parents, please pay attention to what's going on with the children. Pay attention to their social media. Don't think that, hey, I'm going to get my child in trouble. My child's going to go to jail. Everything doesn't require jail. Just think, I may save my son or my daughter's life. We much rather have those calls where we can head something off than to be coming out to a 17-year-old, 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 16-year-old, 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 15-year-old lying in the street because we didn't call. Please don't hesitate. I'm gonna turn this over Sergeant Sharp for a second because he can go into more detail as to what we're doing out on the street, how we gather intel and other things like that as far as the gang unit. But please remember, if nothing else, if you see something, call.
Mic check. There we go. Okay, sorry for that technical difficulty. I'm Sergeant Sharp. I work for the Clayton County Police Department. I've been employed there for approximately 11 years. Most of my time with the Clayton County Police Department, I've been in the Lovejoy area. Approximately 8 years of my career has been in Lovejoy, okay? I've been assigned to the gang unit, narcotics unit also, okay? CID, so I've been assigned to major felony. In my career, I've seen a little bit of everything. When I tell you everything as far as gang activity, from trafficking to drug usage to 15-year-olds walking around with Glocks with switches. If you don't know what a switch is, it's an addition to a back of a gun, particularly a Glock, and it can shoot a full magazine, approximately 17 bullets in less than 2 to 3 seconds, okay? It sounds like as close as I can think of it, as a laser going off. That's as close as I can think of the sound. It's frightening, and it's not a toy. Kids are making these in their own bedroom. It's interesting the fact that I'm in this class, in doing this right now, because 2 weeks ago, I did a presentation about games and social media, okay? And I had the pleasure of learning a lot about social media and identifying characteristics, and using emojis alone will help me identify if your child or any of his friends are a part of a gang. People have the tendency to say something like, oh, they're not a gang, but my mom used to tell me when I was little, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, okay? These kids aren't doing things that are nice at all, if you will. They're killing, they're robbing, they're breaking into cars and stealing things, okay? I had one kid in particular, he broke into someone's vehicle and the owner came out and confronted him and they had a shootout in the apartment complex, okay? The same kid stole someone's car, called him and said, if you want your car back, give me $10,000. Okay, the mom, I'm not gonna say she wasn't supervising her kid properly, but she did not know where he was at. He's bringing home $5,000, $6,000 and mom doesn't question where you getting this money from. As far as the drug usage that's going on, I have 13-year-olds coming home high. Ask mom, hey, do you know your son, your daughter does drugs? Yeah, well, I think they do, maybe. Really? Everyone in this room, for the most part, probably knows what marijuana smells like. And it lingers into the clothes. So your kid comes home. 3 weeks ago, before I went to the class, I had a kid come home after being gone all night. Mom never called the police, which is another issue that we have. People don't want to call the police on their own kid. We're here for a reason, right? We're here to serve the public. Why not use this? But the kid was gone all night, come home, says hey to mom, goes into the bedroom, and passes out. Daughter starts foaming at the mouth. I told mom, your daughter got fentanyl in her system. Narcan was administered immediately, and fortunately, we were able to bring her back. But I told mom, I said, we were seconds away, seconds. So people aren't taking the police or their children's activities seriously at all, in my opinion. I'm a father, so I have a daughter and a son, and I make sure as much as possible that I'm talking to them. You gotta talk to your kids. You have to. You have to know what they're doing. You have to know what's going on in their head. You have to know what their friends are even going through. I asked my son the other day, I said, hey, what's going on with your friend? His name's Tristan. Tristan is an interesting kid. We all have that one friend of our kids that we're like, I don't want you hanging around with Tristan. But my son's gonna be my son, and I know he's gonna hang around with Tristan no matter what I say. But I will always check up and see what him and Tristan have going on. And I urge that for you guys. I'm assigned to Sector 1, Amble Block, and Officer Williams, FTO Williams, I'm sorry, he is also a gang liaison. The Clayton County Police Department, we're going to very soon enact a PAC unit, which we're going to then start combating crime as far as gang violence goes. Once I get this up and running, Chief, we hitting them hard. We hit them hard, I'm sorry to tell you. I appreciate that, I appreciate that. So I'm gonna hand the mic over to FTO Williams, and he'll speak to a little bit about what's going on in his area.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, my bad. I want to say one thing, the biggest thing. I heard somebody say, like, as I was coming in, we don't have gangs in Lovejoy. Y'all have gangs in Lovejoy. You need to understand that it's starting as low as elementary school. Literally, 7th, 8th grade. Gangs don't look how they used to look. Your child is not running around with just red on. Your child is not running around with just blue on. Simple things. Nike ski masks, a certain hoodie. These are things that you guys are buying. Not saying that it's your fault, you just attending to what your kids like. I'm new to Georgia, I'm from Jersey. My first time down here policing, the first thing that I encountered was a child being shot in the garage with his friends while the friend's mom was there. We go to talk to the mom, guess what mom does? She don't want to talk. Why? Because mom is on probation. So I say that to say, be attentive to your kids, be nosy. We're gonna be in your business as police, but as parents, be nosy. Get back into them phones, find out what's going on. A lot of times we come across kids, or I come across kids that are walking late at night. I go to bring them home, I'll call their mother, they say, don't bring them here. I don't want nothing to do with them. Stop quitting on your kids. We know they get on your nerves. I got kids, they get on my nerves. But don't quit on them. If they can't go home, where they gonna go? They're gonna find an outlet, they're gonna find a friend. Also, tap in. There's too many parents that don't know their kids' friends' names, where they live, who their parents are. That's crazy to me. I just want everybody to have an understanding that me, Sharp, us being on the gang unit, a lot of times when we do come across your kids and they are doing certain things that they're doing, it's not gonna be nice. I'm not trying to be harsh, but if y'all won't do it, then the county will. We've been put in place to nip things in the bud. It's not personal. I tell every kid that I come across, it's not personal. You do something, you do what you want to do, we're gonna do what we need to do. So I want y'all to just continue instilling our kids, talk to them, like she said, listen to them, and then hopefully we can nip this in the bud.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, so by the time, gang information get to these people, it's already too late. You agree? Yes, I agree. So, as a kid who grew up in the street, I'm lucky to be standing in front of you. But I can tell you, none of this is new. It's been going on for who knows how many years. What might be new is the lack of accountability on young people in terms of structure at home and with kids. So in our school system, we end up trying to reestablish structure. But we can't do that by ourselves. We need support from our parents. And at times we get into a debate with a parent about what's right for a kid. Have you experienced that before? So I'm just gonna call it what it is, right? If we want to eradicate this type of stuff, we gotta start providing structure for young people at an early age. Demand that young people do what we tell them to do. All right, so when I was a principal, I used to tell this, get on the PA system every morning. This is not a democracy, you do what I say do. As a principal of the school. I used to get rolled up for it too. But to be honest with you, the expectation is that you govern yourself a certain way. You're not a gang member. You're not a killer. You're not that. You're none of those things. You're a student. And we can tell you right now, research says that young people who are involved in extracurricular activities at an early age tend to be very successful in life. Do you agree?
Yes.
So how come you're not taking your child to football practice or baseball practice? Getting speeding tickets trying to get there because you're late picking them up coming from work. See, I was a boy dad. Most of the people sitting here who are successful, we're running behind our children because they're involved in something. So if you have children, just do a survey. Anytime you find a kid who's involved in the game, somewhere, somehow, he's missing something in terms of structure, in terms of what support he needed or she needed to be better. In this position now where, I was talking to my boss the other day, I think we need to look at prevention versus discipline because now we're finding ourselves responding is what the police do, right? So you're responding to what happened. You pulled out a weapon, you did this, we're responding, we're suspending kids. Well, our goal is to prevent and teach and educate young people about how we expect them to behave. Not in school, but only at home, at home as well. So I gotta be honest with you, parents, when you see 15 children jumping one kid, it's not by accident. That young person has showed some interest in being jumped into a gang. How did that happen? What did he or she miss? Why is it that I gotta go seek friendship amongst other people because I'm not finding it somewhere else? Why do I have to build a relationship with violent folk? Because it's missing something. So if you don't know where your child is, and your child is at the park for 3 or 4 hours doing something that's not constructive without your supervision, you can almost anticipate where he's going to find friendship at. And the sad part of it is the data that he reported out. So in the school system, we have 5 behavior norms. We tell our children, we say it every day, we're a weapons-free school district. Don't bring weapons to our schools. We basically don't really have a whole lot of gang activity in the schools anymore because we will not tolerate it, period. Don't bring it to Clayton County in the schools. So the children have gotten smart. They're going to the park on the weekends. They're not doing it in the schools like they used to. We used to have a number of children jumping a kid in the bathroom, jumping them into the gangs. Well, they know they will not be students in the school anymore, so they don't do it in the school. So if your child is on the way home from school, or your children, kids on their way from home from school, what are they doing? You see them at the bus stops, you see them at the parks, you see large groups of kids. And so we talked about neighborhood watch. The only way to eradicate something like this, every single person in this community got to be involved. You can't be afraid to say, that's wrong, don't do that. We need you to live. We need you to learn. We want you to go to college or learn a trade. Because in the school system, we're showing improvement in student attendance, student achievement, graduation rates. Kids are earning millions of dollars going to college. So those things are being reported on a regular basis. But when we have a death of one of our children, that's a problem. All of us feel that. So I just gotta speak to it, right? Every single child that's involved in gang activity, he or she was looking for something and didn't get it. Why is it that that young kid gotta find a family in the street? Let me say that again. Why do I have to go say, this is my brother or my sister in the street? So I'll close with this, right? In our department, I have several team members here from the DPI department, which is discipline, prevention, and intervention. We have a plethora of things that we do in our schools and educating kids, teaching them behavior skills. And as a former elementary school teacher, the one thing that I see that's kind of sort of lacking a little bit is social skill development, right? Our kids don't know how to listen. But then at the end of the day, remember, we are trying to instill or impose our values on kids. She said it earlier, right? This is what we used to do. But sometimes you got to find a way to have a connection with the kid. So, as a principal and as a teacher, the most important thing that I believe that we did well, or I did well, was build a relationship with young people. So I speak to them every day. How you doing today, young person, young people? I compliment them. Thank you for being in my presence. You helped me stay young. Be nice to the kids. Maybe they'll learn how to be nice back. So I don't know why I'm talking to you all like that, but I'm a school teacher and I have a teacher's voice. But at the end of the day, I'm very passionate. We are very passionate about saving our young people. By the time a young kid has been identified as a gang member in a gang task force, it's too late. Because usually when you join a gang, you can't get out. Right? So you have 3 major gangs nationwide, maybe worldwide, but nationwide, and all these different subsets of gangs. Children are trying to develop subsets of gangs right here. And they are. And people die, young people die behind it. So they're looking for structure somewhere outside of what we are trying to teach them. So here in Clayton County Public Schools, we're doing our very, very best. I want to take my hat off to the principals. They do a phenomenal job. I can tell you that we've done bullying awareness campaigns. We do gang awareness campaigns. We've been doing violence prevention tours across the entire district. These things have been working out for us. But what's happening in the community now? All right? So we're here. We're here. You let us know what you need. We'll be right there. All right? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sergeant Morgan. I'm currently the sector sergeant over Sector 2, which is the south end of the district, of the school district, which consists of 2 high schools, which is Lovejoy, Mundy's Mill, 4 middle schools, which is Point South, Eddie White, Mundy's Mill Middle, and Kendrick. Those are my 4 middle schools. So they've talked to you about games and all that. So I want you to imagine this. Those 2 high schools and those 4 middle schools, the highest number of recruitments, of gang recruitments in schools. I don't know if you realize that or not, but that's factual. That's 2 high schools and 4 middle schools. That's a lot of students, guys. A lot of students. I want you to imagine that most fights that take place in these schools are gang related. Whether they take place in the bathrooms, where most of the times they're on video, or they're in the hallways. Now, with that said, most of the things that come into the school are not initiated in the school. They started in the community and they brought into the school. These are the things we need to pay attention to as parents. The stories that I hear, most things I will share with you is factual. That is a very high number of students who have no other direction but to want to be a part of something. That is not good. It is not good. We must do a better job. Now, from our end, as a school resource officer, that I task my officers with being more engaged with the students and starting a mentorship program to engage more with them so we know what's going on with them to help them. Hopefully they'll be able to come to us and tell us their problems and things of that nature. That's how we're trying to resolve it. But all this is everybody's responsibility, not just ours. We're in the school. Everything starts at home. Everything starts at home. Now, we're not here to offend anyone, but that's factual, guys. Everything I would say is factual. It is real. If we do not start there, then we're not going to resolve what we're trying to do here today. All right? But I want you all to understand, that is our number 1 challenge. Kids come to school, they're not focused on education. They're not focused. They want to be a part of something different. So what do? They're recruited. I had a gentleman in this very middle school, his father stopped me in the parking lot at Lovejoy High School one morning. Hey, Sarge, can I talk to you for a minute? My son just told me yesterday, when he was in the restroom, 2 kids approached him and said, hey, you want to come to the restroom and fight? You want to join the gang? This is probably less than a month ago. This is real. I've been addressing with the SRO officer in the back, Officer Johnson, who's the SRO at this school here. I told the student, anytime you have a student address you, approach you, let the officer know in the school. Let him know that. We need to know these things. We need to know these things. It is all our responsibilities. Safety is everybody's responsibility in the schools, and even before they come into the school. We need to have these conversations before kids come to the school. You need to know what your kids are doing. Just like the pastor said earlier, kids are sneaky. They're very sneaky. They'll pull wolves over your eyes every day. It's every day. I deal with parents every day. And I say, oh, you just don't know. You just don't know. Well, these are the things we need to pay attention to all this. We need to pay attention to our kids, guys. Talk to them. Ask them how did their day go. Get involved with what's going on with them. You got to interact with them. Some of you bring them home, let them go in the bedroom, do what they do, and you on the other end of the house, whatever you're doing. No communication. And so that's why gangs come into play. It's important that we interact with our kids. That's all I have.
Pretty heavy segment, right? But we appreciate our presenters on that particular segment. Give them a big round of applause. That's a lot of information. Now, for some of you, that segment probably invoked fear in your heart, but God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And one of the things we wanted you to have tonight is knowledge, because knowledge is power. So we want to give our community back the power that it's due, that we have and that we own. So without further ado, before we close tonight, we're going to field a few questions. Mr. Bodie is going to come forward. And he's going to read a few questions. We have our panelists here. Whoever those questions may be directed to, they'll have an opportunity to answer those quick questions, and then we're going to bring Dr. Harris up and we're going to close, and then we'll be back home tonight. So thank you for your patience. Mr. Bodie.
Good evening, good evening. So our first question, has there always been gang violence, or is this a recent surge of violence? Where are the high activity zones located specifically?
There has always been certain types of gang violence, but here recently there is an uptick in gun and gang violence. We correlate that a lot with, we have a lot of vehicle break-ins. These young people are able to break in vehicles for some crazy reason. A person buys a gun for safety, and instead of taking that gun in the house with them at night where they can be safe with that gun in the house, they leave the gun in the car. Kids will pass by other valuables in the car, reach in and get that gun. But as you can see, like I said, since June to the 1st of this month, we've had 3 gun violence deaths that we believe are gang related. So the gun violence is the new part.
Thank you.
And an increase since the pandemic. We need to be very intentional about talking about what the pandemic has done to the family unit in our community. When we were detached from each other, something happened. When our children had to be enclosed in home to self-school because they were connected to the school via a monitor, but they had to self-manage. They had to make sure that they were connecting with the teacher. They had to make sure they were doing the assignments. They had to make sure they were turning them in. They had to make sure that they were present and accounted for. But they were also disconnected from those who were speaking life into those children, whether it was their parents, the teachers, or community leaders. Something happened during the pandemic that has changed our society. And we're slipping on it's a slippery slope that we're sliding off of. And we need to be honest about that. I know when I look around the room tonight, I see a lot of parents that I always see when there is a call for parents to come forward. And I commend you for being here. But boy, do I wish we could get the message to the parents that, for whatever reason, are not here. You said how many students in the high school? 1,900. How many students you have here at Eddie White? 1,300. How many parents do we see here tonight? Not even 5%. Not even 5%. Do we care or not? That's what I'd like to ask the community. No one wants to police children. Am I right, police officers? That is a horrible feeling when you got to lock up a 14-year-old. That is a horrible feeling when you're standing over a chalk line around a 16-year-old. It makes us very upset. But what other choice do we have if you're calling a parent and they say, don't bring them here? What happened? So yes, this is an increased problem since the pandemic.
And for our next question, I completely agree with increased police presence in high incident areas. How will you mitigate over-policing, inducing fear, hostility between police and the community?
Call 911, okay? Call it as simple as that. If you are calling 911 when you see something that is suspicious to you, this shouldn't be an issue. If we are in your neighborhood, I said it earlier, if we're in your neighborhood with a heavy presence, understand that something has occurred in your neighborhood to cause us to be there. We don't over-police. Chief is very strict. He's not going to allow us to over-police.
Hey, good evening, Chief Roberts, Clayton County Police Department. And I applaud Captain Cofield for what he said, but I'm glad, whoever asked the question, I'm glad you asked the question. The Clayton County Police Department is about business, but that business is serving the community. It is not about violating people's rights. It is not about encroaching on people's ability to live and be safe and healthy, but we're your police department. We have a duty to protect you. So as all these great leaders have said, we got to get buy-in from the community. But trust and believe, although these officers, if they're addressing gang members, their presence will be strong. But we're about business. And once the business is done, then we can be more relaxed and engaging. But the topics we're talking about here today, they don't apply to those young men and women who are violating the laws or committing homicide. So understand, we're going to conduct our business appropriately. We'll be fair. We got body cameras. He is absolutely correct. And I will hold men and women in my agency accountable for working outside of our policy and the law. And that's my responsibility to you because I work for you. Is that fair? So don't get worried, whoever asked that question. I don't believe in corrupt police officers. I believe in rooting out corrupt police officers in my agency and holding people accountable. So if you feel like you've not received the proper service from any officer in the Clayton County Police Department that works for me, my number is on the website. I need to know so we can get him or her up out of the department. Is that fair? Ring my phone, we'll get them gone.
And for our next question, can parents be charged with a felony if their child commits a crime? Second part, will Clayton County consider a 2 strikes you're out permanently out policy?
I didn't come here to speak. Captain Cofield is the sector commander for your area, but the second part of the question related to a 2 strikes you're out policy, that's a legislative decision that comes from the courts and the judges. So once again, we talk about community involvement. You vote for your judges, and when you vote for them, you need to tell them what you want. Just like we elect senators and representatives and presidents, and we hope they do what we want, they get there. I said it. And it's like that because we're putting them in place to serve our community. So that's messaging we as voters have to make when we put the right people in the right place. And can parents be charged with a felony if their child commits a crime to the extent that they're aware or contributed to their child committing that felony? They can be, but that depends on the circumstances. I hope I answered your question. Captain Cofield, don't hand me the mic again.
All right, and we have one more question, multiple parts. In regard to the curfew, 11 p.m. on weekdays and midnight on the weekend. What if the child has a job and has to use public transportation? Can there be a program put in place where we can make sure the child gets to and from work safely?
Of course,
when our officers make contact, we're gonna figure out the situation. If they work at Zaxby's to get off at 11 p.m. or however, of course, we're gonna be fair, right? I mean, but if they are out, up to no good, they will be charged, and if the parents know about it, they'll be charged also.
All right, well, that concludes our time for our Q&A session.
I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank our those that came and had questions, and we hope that you got your questions answered. But the biggest question is, what is next? Dr. Harris, you called. Dr. Griffin, you passed out flyers. You sent emails. We came. We're here. What is next? What is next is phase 2. Phase 2 will take a more, and I'm going to use the word, more of a targeted approach. The targeted approach is going to be one of not just the criminal aspect and how it filters into the school, but also we're going to look at the whole child, because let's be honest, you got 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds that are engaged in criminal activity, but I don't care which way you shake it, they're still a child. And there's still a problem there. And we have to do a root cause analysis. We got to give discipline, and we got to follow the Clayton County Public Schools policy. We're going to collaborate. But one of the things that Dr. Griffin and I have talked about is we share some of the same concerns, and sometimes with the same students and the same families, is we're going to have more of a cluster circle of support. Instead of having 2 or 3 different meetings when we see there's a problem and we've connected the dots, because that's going to be a part of phase 2 of connecting the dots. And I've already talked to our assistant principals. We're going to have one that's dedicated to bridging the gap with the other APs at the elementary school and the high school for that cluster circle of support. And we're going to have to go a little deeper and provide that student with support. Yes, we're going to follow the rules, but we got to help the child. And we also have to repair the trauma that's caused to the child that is the victim. So we're going to work hard, but I ask you all to work hard with us. I ask you all to stand with us and not just answer the phone and come up and you want to talk to Dr. Harris and you mad at Dr. Griffin and so you want to talk to Dr. Horton, and we know that those things are going to happen. But I ask that you put your boots on the ground with us, because the majority of the time that they spend is outside the building. Children go to school 190 days if they have perfect attendance. It's 365 in a year. So that means they're spending more time with you. We need you all support. When we're calling you and we're asking for meetings, we mean it. Because with a school of 1,900 students and 1,300 students, it takes up a lot of time to spend with one, and we still got $12.99 in the building. But that means that we care. I want to thank all of our panelists for coming and for contributing. I promise you will hear from us. I want to thank Mount Calvary for coming. Keep praying for us. Keep us covered. Mount Calvary, give me a church.
Just Calvary.
Just Calvary. Not Mount Calvary, but Calvary. And we know what happened on Calvary. You know, I'm a pastor's child. I want to thank you all. I want to thank our students for coming. And we've already talked about doing some things strictly with our students. We want to thank Dr. Horton, Mr. Farmer, Dr. Colbert, Dr. Blocker, Chief Walker, who is the chief of Clayton County Public Schools Police. Not often can you get the chief of police of your school system every time you call and respond to a text. I know we have Major Mitchell that is here, Ernest Mitchell, undying support. We want to thank you. I don't see Officer Rucker, but Officer Rucker is one of the SROs at Lovejoy High School. And I want to thank, in my eyes, the SRO of the year. That is Officer Ricky Johnson, who has dedicated a lot of time and helped us do what we do. I'm going to ask that my partner in education and leadership come out, closing remarks, and we're going to let you all go.
Appreciate you, Doc. We appreciate you, parents. Thank you so much. A lot of information has been shared tonight, and we know that information has been sobering. But we wanted you to have this information, and this is a macro to the micro that Dr. Harris talked about in phase 2. So we're coming to a community near you for certain in the very, very near future. Captain Cofield talked a lot about data, shared some numbers, some very sobering numbers with us tonight. I gotta take a page out of my colleague's book. And she says, women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie. And we heard some numbers tonight. And my question to you, to everybody in this building, is what are you going to do about it? So the next step is the answer to that particular question. Once again, we thank all of our panelists for coming out tonight, our bosses, Dr. Horton, Mr. Former, Dr. Colbert, for coming out tonight. And this is the end of our symposium, and stay tuned for next steps. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.